Hello, everyone. Tonight, the house goes quiet in a way that doesn't feel safe. A child's breathing is too warm. A phone keeps vibrating in the dark. And somewhere between staying and leaving, a choice is already being made. Henry's fever came back at the worst possible moment. Late afternoon had settled over the farm, that dull light where everything looks calm even when it isn't. The wooden house was quiet for once. A kettle sat on the stove. A folded blanket lay on the chair like someone had tried to plan for a peaceful evening. Alex was already in his jacket, one sleeve on, the other half pulled. His keys were in his hand. The meeting in the city was close enough to feel like a countdown. Then Henry cried. Not the usual whine. This sound was sharp, strained, hot with pain. Alex stopped mid-motion. Tuna appeared in the doorway with Henry in her arms. Henry's cheeks were red, hair damp, eyes squeezed tight. His body shook as he cried, like he couldn't settle anywhere inside his own skin. Tuna looked frightened in a way she couldn't cover. One hand tried to steady Henry. The other went to her belly by instinct, then dropped again. "His skin is burning," she said, voice thin. Alex took Henry from her without a word. The heat hit his palms immediately. "It's okay," he murmured, rocking slightly. The words sounded like a habit more than comfort. Henry didn't calm. He buried his face into Alex's shoulder and cried harder. On the table, Alex's phone started vibrating. Once, twice, then again like someone outside refused to accept that this room existed. Alex didn't pick it up right away, but his eyes flicked toward it. The smallest reflex. Tuna saw that glance. It wasn't anger on her face. It was recognition. Buzzing phones in this house had started to mean one thing: leaving. The screen lit up with Lan's name. Alex answered low. "Lan?" Lan's voice was tight, professional. "Sir, the partners are here." Alex closed his eyes for a beat. He kept rocking Henry, trying to keep his body calm while Henry's body burned. "Now?" he asked. "They're in the meeting room," Lan said. "They want you in person." Henry cried again, raw and exhausted. Alex swallowed. "I'm at home," he said. A pause, like Lan was weighing her next words. "Do you want me to stall?" she asked. Alex looked at Tuna. Tuna didn't step closer. She didn't reach for the phone. She stood still, like she was afraid a single movement would tip the whole night into something worse. Her voice came out small. "You should go." It didn't sound like trust, it sounded like self-sacrifice. Alex stared at her, then shook his head once. No. Just one word. Quiet. Final. Tuna's shoulders dropped for a second, then tightened again. Relief never came alone anymore. Alex brought the phone back to his ear. "Lan," he said firmer, "I'm not coming in." Lan didn't argue. Her silence said enough. "They won't be happy," she finally said. "I know," Alex answered. "Handle it." "Reschedule?" Lan tried. Alex felt the shape of consequences already forming. The company didn't like empty spaces. Partners didn't like delays. And people like Mai watched every gap as opportunity. But Henry's heat was real in his arms. "Tell them we'll talk when I can," Alex said. "That's all?" Lan exhaled quietly. "Understood." He ended the call and set the phone face down, like he didn't trust it not to pull him away again. For a moment, nobody spoke. Only Henry's crying filled the room. Even that started to change. The sound stayed loud, but it carried fatigue now, like Henry's body was running out of fight. Tuna touched Henry's arm with 2 fingers. "He's too hot," she whispered. Alex reached for the thermometer with one hand, keeping Henry close with the other. He slid it under Henry's arm, awkward but careful. Henry thrashed once, then gave up and leaned into Alex's chest, fists clenched. The thermometer beeped. Alex looked at the number and didn't say it out loud. His jaw tightened instead. Tu Na read it on his face. She didn't ask. She only breathed in sharply. "He needs a doctor," Alex said. Alex's mother stepped in from the kitchen area, drawn by the noise. Her eyes went straight to Henry. She took the thermometer without asking, checked it, then looked at Henry's flushed face. Fear turned her into rules. "Take him to the clinic," she said. "Now." Tu Na moved automatically. "I'll get a blanket." "No thick blanket," Alex's mother cut in. "He's burning." Tu Na stopped mid-step, caught between instinct and instruction. Alex adjusted Henry higher. "I'll carry him." "You sit in the back seat," his mother said immediately. "Hold him steady." No one argued. There wasn't room for pride. Tu Na grabbed Henry's bottle, the medicine pouch, and the clinic paper she kept folded in the drawer like a secret. Her hand hovered over her belly again, then dropped as she forced her breathing to slow. Outside, the sky had dimmed into a gray blue. The farm workers' voices drifted and faded as the car door shut. Alex sat in the back seat with Henry on his lap, Henry's head tucked under his chin. One hand stayed on Henry's back. The other held the thermometer like a lifeline. Tu Na sat in the passenger seat, turned slightly to look back. She watched Alex's face more than she watched Henry. She had learned Alex's face told the truth before his mouth did. Alex's mother drove. The road was uneven. Each bump made Henry whimper, then fall back into tired, wet quiet. Alex whispered to him, steady and low, "I'm here." Tu Na heard it and felt two things at once. Warmth, because this was the father she wanted Henry to remember. Pain, because this version of Alex only appeared when the world forced a choice. Her eyes flicked to the dashboard clock. The meeting would be starting. Lan would be standing there, buying seconds, watching people's patience thin. Tu Na didn't say it out loud, but the thought pressed against her ribs. Every time Alex chose family, work demanded repayment. But this time, if he didn't choose family, the price might not be a contract. It might be something that couldn't be repaired with an apology. Alex looked up and met Tu Na's eyes in the rearview mirror. Tired, apologetic, determined. Tu Na didn't nod. She didn't soften it for him. She only held the look for 1 second, then turned back toward the road. The clinic sign appeared ahead, bright and plain. As the car slowed into the lot, Tu Na's phone buzzed in her lap. Once, twice. She didn't answer. Alex didn't look. He opened the back door, lifted Henry carefully, and held him close as they stepped into the clinic's cold light. The clinic smelled like disinfectant and warm dust. The kind of place that was always half busy, half asleep. A small television played with the sound low. Two people sat on a bench, faces turned down toward their phones. No one looked up until Henry cried again. Alex carried him straight to the counter. Tu Na stayed close, one hand hovering near Henry's back, as if she could cool him with touch. The other hand pressed lightly over her belly, then moved away, like she didn't want anyone to see how scared she was. Alex's mother spoke first, crisp and controlled. "The child has a high fever." The nurse glanced up, took one look at Henry's red face, then stood. "Bring him in." Alex followed, still holding Henry, rocking as he walked. Henry clung to his shirt with weak fingers. He wasn't fighting anymore. He was just trying not to fall apart. Inside the examination room, the air was colder. A doctor came in quickly, older, calm. He didn't waste words. He listened to Henry's chest, checked his throat, pressed fingers gently along Henry's neck. Henry flinched and cried once more, then let his head drop into Alex's shoulder. The doctor's eyes moved to Alex. "How long?" "Since afternoon," Alex said. His voice was low, steadier than he felt. Tu Na answered at the same time, soft. It came back suddenly. The doctor nodded as if he'd seen this pattern 100 times. "Has he been eating?" Tu Na swallowed. "Not much." The doctor checked the thermometer reading again, then looked at Henry's eyes, the slow blink, the glassy stare. "Fever reducer," he said, "and we'll run a quick check." Alex didn't ask questions that didn't matter. He only said, "Is he okay?" The doctor didn't dramatize it. "We need to bring the fever down. He's small, his body tires fast." That word, small, landed hard. Tu Na's breath caught. She stepped closer without realizing it. Alex tightened his hold on Henry, like he could physically keep Henry's body from slipping into danger. The doctor wrote instructions, then glanced toward Tu Na. Her face was pale, not just worry pale, tired pale. The doctor didn't comment on her pregnancy. He didn't need to. He could see the way she stood, the way she kept her shoulders stiff to hold herself upright. "Sit," he said to Tu Na, not unkindly. "You look unwell." Tu Na didn't sit. Alex's mother stepped in. "She's pregnant," she said, like that explained everything and nothing. The doctor nodded once. "Then she shouldn't be carrying stress like this." Tu Na stared at the floor for a second. Her throat tightened like she wanted to speak, then she swallowed it down. "Habit." Alex looked at her. "Sit down," he said gently. And it wasn't a command, it was worry. Tu Na finally lowered herself onto the chair. Her hand went back to her belly, slower this time, like she was checking that the baby was still there with her. Henry's medicine kicked in gradually. His crying softened into a whimper. His body stopped shaking. The heat didn't vanish, but it started to ease. Alex watched Henry's face like it was the only thing in the room. Tu Na watched Alex. She saw the way he didn't touch his phone, didn't check the time, didn't ask about the meeting. For a moment, she let herself imagine that this could be normal, that choosing Henry didn't have to feel like a dramatic decision, that it could just be fatherhood. Then the clinic door opened slightly, and a nurse called a name, not theirs, but the sound made Alex's shoulders stiffen anyway. Tu Na noticed that reaction. The body remembers pressure, even when the mind tries to focus. The nurse returned with a slip of paper, instructions, a follow-up note, a reminder. Alex's mother took it first. She read it, lips pressed thin. Her fear became control again. "We'll follow this exactly," she said. Alex didn't argue. He nodded once. Tu Na reached for the paper too, and their fingers brushed. It was a small touch, but Tu Na still pulled her hand back afterward, like she didn't want to feel how much she needed that simple connection. Henry's eyes opened halfway. He didn't cry. He looked around the room slowly, like he was checking if he was safe. His gaze landed on Alex's face. Then, for the first time all evening, Henry relaxed a fraction. His cheek settled against Alex's shoulder, as if his body recognized. This person stayed. Tu Na felt warmth rise in her chest and grief right behind it. Because Henry shouldn't need proof like this. He shouldn't learn safety through emergencies. They left the clinic with medicine in a small plastic bag. Outside, the air had turned cooler. The farm road was darker now, quiet and empty. The car lights cut through dust and shadows. Alex sat in the back again, Henry heavy against him, sleeping now in that limp, drained way that still scared Tu Na. Sleeping could look like peace. It could also look like exhaustion. Tu Na turned slightly in her seat to keep watching. Alex's mother drove with both hands tight on the wheel, jaw clenched. She didn't say thank you to Alex. She didn't need to. In her mind, this wasn't generosity. It was what should have happened from the start. Tu Na watched the dashboard clock again. It was late. Not too late for the meeting to still be happening. Not too late for Lon to still be standing there taking hits. Not too late for consequences to already be forming without Alex in the room. Tu Na didn't say it, but she could feel it. There would be a price waiting. In the back seat, Alex lowered his head and whispered into Henry's hair, almost inaudible. "I'm sorry." Tu Na's eyes stung. He wasn't apologizing to Henry for the fever. He was apologizing for everything Henry had started to understand. Tu Na's throat tightened. She looked out the window so no one would see her face. The car rolled into the farmyard. The wooden house sat in darkness except for one dim light inside. It looked quiet, but Tu Na knew quiet could mean tension, not rest. Alex carried Henry inside without waking him. He stepped carefully, like every sound mattered. Tu Na followed and watched Alex lay Henry down on the bed. Alex stayed crouched for a moment, hand on Henry's back, feeling the rise and fall. Alex's mother set the medicine bag on the table and immediately started arranging things. She lined up the fever reducer, the dosing spoon, the water. Order, order, order. Tu Na stood still near the doorway. She felt exhausted in a way that wasn't just physical. It was the exhaustion of always watching. Watching phones, clocks, faces, pauses, watching choices. Alex finally stood and turned to Tu Na. His eyes were tired, red at the edges. He looked like he wanted to speak, but didn't know what words wouldn't make it worse. Tu Na spoke first, softly. "He's asleep." Alex nodded. "Yeah." Silence stretched. In that silence, Tu Na could hear things outside. A distant motorbike, a dog barking once, the farm settling into night again, and then, faintly, Alex's phone vibrating somewhere in his jacket pocket. Alex froze. He didn't move to answer it, but his body reacted before his mind did. Tu Na saw it. Alex's mother saw it too. Her eyes narrowed, ready to take control of the next moment. Alex reached slowly into his pocket, pulled the phone out, and looked at the screen. Lon. Again, he didn't answer. He stared at it like it was a threat he didn't know how to fight. Tu Na didn't ask what it was. She only said quiet and direct, "Henry will wake up if you talk." Alex's throat moved. He looked at the bedroom where Henry slept, then looked at Tu Na again. It was the same pattern. Role pressing in, family needing him. But now Henry's fever had given this choice a sharper edge, a clearer cost. Alex turned the phone face down on the table, not as dramatic as switching it off, not a declaration, just an action that said, "Not now." Alex's mother watched him, then said softly, almost surprised, "Good." Tu Na didn't smile. She stepped closer to the table, still keeping her voice steady. "If you answer it," she said, "you'll bring that noise back into this room." Alex looked at her as if he understood exactly what she meant. Not the sound of the phone, the sound of leaving. Alex swallowed. "I'll call her later." Tu Na nodded once. Not forgiveness, not approval, just acknowledgement. Then her eyes flicked to the clock on the wall. She didn't need to say what she was thinking. Alex knew. the meeting was lost, or delayed, or handled by someone else. And someone else, maybe Mai, would notice this absence the way predators notice a gap in the fence. Alex's mother broke the silence with the voice she used when she was afraid. Controlled. Practical. "This isn't over," she said quietly, eyes on Alex. "They'll come back harder tomorrow." Alex didn't argue. He looked toward Henry again, then back at Tu Na. Tu Na's face was calm, but there was something different under it now. Not panic, not pleading, a quiet line being drawn. Tu Na took a slow breath. "Today," she said, "you chose him." Alex nodded barely. "Yes?" Tu Na's voice didn't soften into gratitude. It stayed realistic. "And tomorrow," she added, "they'll make you pay." Alex's mouth tightened. "I know." Tu Na's hand went back to her belly again, and she spoke even softer. "Just don't let the price be paid by this house." Alex didn't answer right away. He looked at her like he wanted to promise. But promises had started to sound like the same thing phones sounded like. Temporary. He finally said, "I'll try." Tu Na's eyes met his. Steady. "Don't." One word. Calm. Heavy. Alex blinked. Tu Na continued, still quiet. "Trying is what you say when you already know something else might win." Alex's face tightened, like the truth hurt. From the bed, Henry shifted in his sleep and made a small sound. Not a cry. Not a word. Just a tired little breath that reminded all of them what mattered. Alex turned his head toward Henry as if pulled by that sound. Then he looked back at Tu Na. His voice dropped. "What do you want me to say?" Tu Na hesitated. Not because she didn't know, because asking still felt dangerous. Then she said it anyway. "Be here," she whispered. Alex nodded slowly. Outside, the farm stayed quiet. Inside, the phone lay face down, like a sleeping threat. And Tu Na watched Alex's hands, empty now, not holding keys, not holding a phone, because she had learned something painful. Sometimes the loudest choice is the one no one announces. It's the one a child remembers in silence.